My man,
Hey, how are you, Tyler?
how we doing?
Good, you?
Good, dude. Can actually hear you this time.
Yes, sir. Finally.
What's behind you? What's in the basement?
I have no idea. I think it's a room where they do like meetings and stuff.
Too early on for that.
I still don't know. Like people rent out the basement for some kind of reason.
You banged out that cut in 23 minutes?
Yep,
Sheesh.
bro.
Couldn't
Skin
make
fade,
it.
skin
What on
fade, and
top?
GRL on top of that, bro. It makes it easy.
How have they been?
GRL, honestly, I was pretty amazed by the product. Like I knew they were good, but getting a grip of the machine
Yeah.
and actually like giving a haircut was just pretty amazing. Like first of all, it's fast. It slices up the hair like real quick. Like you have no issue with it. Plus you have the two speeds, so I like taking out the bulk and then whenever I'm doing the detail, put it on the lower speed.
Yeah, I haven't heard one bad thing, dude, and they've been selling out like crazy. Same with X.
Yeah, like honestly, like after using the machine, I do understand why, and I even feel like just buying like two other clippers and a trimmer, and that's it. Like I'll sell the rest.
You'll be good with them.
Yeah, because like I usually use Babyless and seniors,
Yeah.
but right now it's like I'm not even using them. Plus, like the clipper has a battery life of 4 hours, so bro, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to you. Like when I get a clipper that I can use consistently for multiple different things, like I kind of prefer that rather than having one. Not to say that's a bad thing. I mean, there's definitely
It's
some.
not a bad thing, but when it comes to like a machine like that, that actually gives the professional like point of view, like cutting hair of like four different machines together, bro, it's crazy.
No, I completely agree, and they're changing the game with it. All right, so we can finally get in to our topic because
Yes,
we have
sir.
connected works. So what we're talking about today, for everyone that's listening, Hadi recently made a move from Brooklyn, or sorry, from Montreal to Brooklyn. From a barbershop he was pretty busy at, had a lot of friends out there, was settled in and decided to reach his goals in the industry and in life that he had to go and he had to make this huge move 6 hours down and started a brand new shop. So essentially, we're going to dig into that. We're going to see what kind of surrounded that process, and hopefully, what you guys can get out of it is one, if you're looking to make a move, something that's big, something that's life changing, what the rationale goes in behind that, how to actually find clients when you're moving to a new space, and any general things you can learn from Hadi. I've known Hadi for a decent bit now, and he's got a lot of good things to share. He's young, he's motivated, and he's trying to put himself out there. So with that being said, Hadi, go ahead and introduce yourself. Give some background about how you got into barbering. Yeah, there you go, Dave. That's gonna be good for you then. That's the point of this.
Perfect.
All right, go ahead, Hadi.
So my name is Hadi, aka the Brooklyn Cuts. I've been cutting hair for now about 2 years, actually 2 years this September. I started off in Montreal. I've been living there for like 15 years. And I came back to my original town, as in Brooklyn. So yeah, like I used to work as a mechanic and construction a little bit on the side. And then I got involved in the barber industry where I just fell in love with it. And it's something that took my mind off of things because I was going through a hard time before. So let's say the like being a barber just took a lot of that away in a certain type of aspect, and it got me way better and focusing on something I really like and enjoy. So that's the main thing with what
Now,
happened
how
to
did
me.
you initially get drawn in to the profession while you were working as a mechanic and a carpenter?
To barbering.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of my boys actually opened up a shop. So he used to cut my hair for a long time, and at one point he opened up a shop. And when he opened up, he looked at me. He's like, "Yo, bro, you look like a good barber. Like you should try it out." And at first, I said no to that. I was like, you know what, like, bro, I have a good job. As a mechanic, I used to work for Volkswagen, so I had like a good insurance that covers a lot of stuff that comes with the company and everything. I was just like, nah, bro, like, I'm not gonna do that. And like a bit later, I think like a year and a half. So it took a couple like it took time, but it did happen at the end, where I went back to the barbershop. I was like, you know what, like I'll take a couple of courses, and then on the weekends I would stay and just watch people get haircuts, and I was pretty amazed by it. And I started cutting my friends at home. I got like clippers. I used to cut at home and everything, so it was cool. And yeah, so it started from there, and then I got into a barbershop. I worked like I was working on the weekends because on the weekdays I was a mechanic,
Hmm.
and then after that, after like 3 weekends, I really liked it, so I was like, you know what, I'll just be a barber. So it was pretty
You
cool.
went all in. So when you started to think about moving back from Montreal to Brooklyn, what was the general reasoning for that, and when did you start to seriously consider it?
Okay, so a while back, I think like 6 months ago, I took a course, a social media course from Marvy Marv. So I was taking that social media course, and I got into a big community of like barbers on Instagram, where I've seen like a lot of barbers from the States growing and making money, and like for sure money's part of the game too. And I always loved New York, but it was just like, if I go to New York, what am I gonna do? And then now I had like the barbering into my hands. Like I was like, you know what? Like there's way more opportunities in New York, way more clients also, and then my whole family lives here. So that was the main thing that made me want to move to New York. And then for sure, like when I calculated my stuff and everything, I was like, you know what? It is something that could be possible to do. So I took that risk and came to Brooklyn.
Yeah, and being 15 years away from your family, that has to be tough. Not having a support system when you're out in Montreal, you would live there for a period of time, but not having that has to be tough.
Yeah, especially like when it comes to family, like as much as how many friends you have and everything and going out, it's nothing as the same as having like family around, Like I used to come every like 3 or 4 months to New York, but a weekend every like 4 months is not enough, you know?
Yeah. You
So
start to feel that stress on you, most definitely. I'm a very family oriented person, and
yeah,
when you don't have that right there, it's difficult. We have a question for you.
100%.
The biggest advice you have in terms of moving, in terms of emotional stress and how to handle being alone. I know Hadi, when we talked about this previously, there's a big mental health aspect to it because you're going somewhere. In Hadi's case, not necessarily because he knew people, but even just that big leap and the unknown. How are you dealing with that?
So I posted I posted something like 3 or 4 days ago. The post was about actually moving. So on that aspect, yes, it is stressful, like to move from city to city or like even country to country, like I did. For sure, like I don't have friends over here. I don't know anyone. I just have my family, so it's not like a big help to the barber industry. But what I can say is that sometimes there was always this thing. Most of the parents said it to us. Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. You probably heard it, Tyler.
Absolutely.
So that comes to a point where sometimes you have people around you, and they are good people. It's just that they're not pushing you to become something better. And I feel like sometimes being alone is you against you, and that's what I did. Basically, I just moved. I said, you know what? I rented out an apartment. I got into a shop, and it's really being responsible and putting everything together. So before moving out, it's been like 5 months. I was thinking about moving to Brooklyn. So what I did was talk to barbers in Brooklyn, talk to owners of shops, see how many walk-ins do come in the shop. Basically, like the minimum amount of clients that come in, and then it comes up to you. So um, for me, like doing clientele, it's not about the quantity, but quality of work. So if you have one client during the day and you only make, let's say, $40 or $20 or $30, it's not important. The important thing is that you give out a great service. So you do talk to the client. That I think is one of the most important thing. It's like 30% haircut and then 70% service, where when the client comes in, you ask his name, you talk to him, You give and take to the conversation, right? So that way the client feels comfortable with you and you feel comfortable with the client, and then 100% you have to give a good haircut. But take the time on the client, especially when you're new into a city where no one knows you, because I remember, like, let's say me, when I walk into a shop and there's this new guy at the shop, I don't want to cut with him because you're stressed out that he doesn't know how to cut hair, and then you're like,
Yeah.
you know what, I don't want to take the risk. So if a client does take the risk and sit down on your chair, be grateful and take the time to give out a great haircut. If you're used to giving haircuts in 30 minutes, like I do, now what I'm doing is that I'm taking an hour on a haircut, but I'm making sure the client is going to come back and does take my number. So that is something I'm doing. And if you have that mindset, and you tell yourself, like, I left from Canada with the mindset that I was coming here, and the first month I was not cutting hair. And it sounds negative, but because I went so negative on the idea of it, that whatever I get after that is positive. So then basically when I got here, like the first day I think I did like 5 or 6 clients, and then I was like, all right, like, let's just keep it up. And then people were taking my number, and then all that stress that I had for like the past 2 months just vanished in a matter of a day in a
Yeah.
shop that I didn't know of.
And
So
even to rewind a little bit, so when David asked about, dealing with that stress, and Hadi mentioned just putting the right people around you when you're moving to a completely different place, it's actually an opportunity in a way. Because if you get yourself into a group where there's people that, you're doing things that aren't productive to yourself, it's taken away from you, it's taken energy away from you. Now you go to a new place and you have a fresh slate and the ability to, start over and associate yourself with people that'll uplift you and help you move forward. And then another thing, Hadi didn't just go into Brooklyn blindsided. He did his research. He reached out to people beforehand. So he was prepping himself in a way even before he moved there. So I think doing your background research and really preparing yourself for that move can really help, as opposed to just throwing yourself into it. Uh, Rob asked, "Are there barbershops in Montreal and Brooklyn similar in any way?" And that's a really interesting question because they're two different countries.
yeah.
And me and Hadi talked about this a little bit, so I'll let you take that over.
So actually that's a great question, because I've looked up the haircuts in Brooklyn and in Montreal. They kind of look the same, but we do realize in a lot of states where everything changes. So from, let's say, Atlanta to like Brooklyn to Montreal, like it's not the same haircut. So what happened was you have to get used to it. So let's say in Montreal, I was used to cutting hair, a lot of scissor work, um, and like it's just in Montreal, it's like an overall of you're cutting a lot of people from different countries, so it's nice. So let's say you have like different type of hair texture compared to in New York, where the shop is, we cut a lot of Arabs and Spanish people. So that's mainly the thing that we do over here, and it really depends on the area you are in Brooklyn. But it is like that over here. Like in Canada, like in Montreal, I felt like it was whoever just came in, we just knew how to cut hair. And I think that was a great thing for me to start in Montreal, because I got used to taking whatever I could take and then just chopping it off and giving a great haircut. So now it's like over here, I'm maintaining myself on two type of texture, like hair textures, and it's going great. The haircuts are pretty different. Over there was a lot of scissor overcomb. Over here, it's like a lot of tape ups, a lot of buzz cuts, skin fades. So it's a little bit different, but you get used to it in a matter of time. Like if you know how to cut, especially if you know how to cut, and it's been like quite a decent time you're in the barber industry. It just takes like I think a week or 2 weeks to to know what the clientele, let's say in a different area, wants, and
Looking
then.
for. And a
Mhm.
big part of people, when people talk about being a master barber, is being able to cut any hair texture, any type that comes through the door. So you being in a cultural melting pot where you're cutting all different people from all walks of life is very important. And now you get the chance to be more specialized. And even when you go to a different shop, say in a different area, because Brooklyn is more segmented, you're going to have that.
Mhm.
So Dave asked, in Mississippi, I'm a big fish in a small pond, but Atlanta, I'm going to be a small fish in a big pond. Should I get my social media better? Any advice on that aspect?
Um, Honestly, social media is one thing that I took a step back from when I got to Brooklyn. The reason for it is because, like I said before, um, giving that service one on one is the best thing you can do when you change areas. So basically, before, let's say when I was in Montreal, it was way easier because I had those clientele that I used to cut. So then social media, where it gets good is that those clients will follow you on Instagram and then they will like, and then you could go see, let's say, on their page who follows them, and then just click on, let's say, their followers, their guys, the guys that are following them, and then you can gain more clientele. Compared to over here, because I don't know anyone, what I'm trying to do is more going old school, and it's word of mouth. So you give a good haircut, the guy goes back home, he has three brothers, tells his three brothers, yo, listen, I found a good barber at the shop, go check him out. And this is how I'm gaining clientele over here. So this is one thing that I'm putting a lot of effort on. And I guess if ever you're moving out. And yes, Atlanta is a big city, especially in the barber industry. I think you should more take the time to take care of your client, one-on-one talk, make him feel comfortable on your chair, and that is a great way to start once you move to that shop.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dave, even, I mean, you can even get thrifty with it. Like when you're getting there, it may be giving away a few free haircuts. It may be referrals, discounting it. Just there's different ways to get people in the door. And as far as social media, thinking about that, like look at local restaurants close to where your barbershop is, interact with those accounts. But at the end of the day, like Hadi said, the most important thing is that service, because if you're not focusing on the client and you're just focusing on your social media, you're falling short because you're not making sure that that person in your chair is going to come back. And then Hadi, any tips, final tips, as far as like when clients are walking the door, like you said, as a new barber in a new shop, they may not want to immediately come to you. So how do you attract that clientele?
So for that, I'll go with it's like, let's say you're going out, you're drinking a coffee, and you meet a girl that's walking by, right? She looks cute, but she looks professional. Like let's say I don't want to be the judgy person, but like a girl that has her hair done and everything looks good, and you're more attracted to her. As a barber, the same thing. Don't come in your pajamas. That's what I'm saying. Is that come in professionally, put a nice shirt on, put some jeans, shorts, but look nice. And in the barber industry, style is one thing that's very important. Uh, I guess like a lot of clients just look up to you in a type of way where they like your shoes, your style, how you dress up. So that's one thing. The second thing is um, so your station. Try to keep it as clean as possible. Put your machines out there so you can show them that you're already prepared. You already have your tools. You're a barber. One thing that I really like, and it's not because I'm on the live with Slicker, but the rig, guys, like that's one thing that attracts the eyes of the clientele. So when they walk in and they see like you're all rigged up, you have everything on you, you look professional, they're more likely to be comfortable walking up to you and be like, yo, you have a spot, and then you can have the clientele rather than that barber that's just sitting on his chair and he's on his phone and just waiting. Try to be upfront. Try to be next to other barbers, talking to clients when they come in. Hey, how are you? Do you have an appointment? Just be that professional barber in the shop, and it will take you really far. It's a small amount of just, hey, how are you, and just making that client feel like you're there, and then that's it.
So now that you're in, a bigger place or the place you want to be at, what are some of your goals moving forward?
My goals moving forward will be gaining a lot more clientele. That's 100% sure. The other thing would be connecting with other barbers in New York City. So I think the barber community is a big thing that is very great for us as barbers because everyone helps out everyone. I don't really trust the thing about barber beef because I've experienced it once maybe, but all the barbers I know is like everyone just helps out everyone. That's one thing that's very cool. The other thing would be my goals would be gaining clientele, moving forward with my social media page, going further. Someday give out classes, maybe have products of my own to sell. So that could be a main goal, but one step at a time. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your progress, and I think the networking part is going to be huge. I mean, you have a wealth of barbers around you, and me and Chad had talked about this the other week. Like, people are so reluctant to just reach out because I think social media causes some of this. They just don't think it'll be received well by the other person. But like, at the end of the day, if it's not, it doesn't matter. Nothing bad is going to happen. Like, just put yourself out there, have those conversations, and there's generally going to be a lot of people willing to help. But I'm personally very impressed, and I'm sure other people are as well. The fact that you were able to make that jump. When we first posted about this live, someone asked me, where did he move from? And I told him Montreal to Brooklyn, and he's like, holy shit. Like, that is a big move. I was talking to Heidi on the phone.
It is a
He's like,
big
yeah, I'm
move.
driving 6 hours. I'm here already. And I'm like, holy hell, man. Like, literally just picking up your whole life because you have a goal and just going for it. So that's inspiring to me, and you took an actionable plan. For me personally, I would love to move over to the U.S. in the future to cut. How do you feel the public would take to a British person cutting their hair? So you and I can offer some, like, it's a little opposite, but I cut in Ireland for a little bit. And there definitely was, like, in a way you feel odd because you'll see that when you're here, the way barbers work and the way barbers work with their clients is a lot different. So when I went to the UK or when I went to Ireland and I cut, I was shocked because people would give me no input on their haircut or what they wanted. They would say tidy at the top, a little bit off the sides, like a one. They wouldn't tell if it's faded where the fade is, any of that. And for me, I was like lost. Whereas in the US, it's very specific, and people are going to tell you pretty much exactly what they want. And if they don't get that, they'll be pretty pissed off. But as far as how the public would take it, that's hard for me to say, man. I mean, there's definitely people who have done it, and I think if you're in the right area, um, you won't have an issue. I mean, there's good people and bad people everywhere. So I think I'd say if it's something you're looking to do and you think it's going to be beneficial for you, do some more research, see if there's other people you can talk to in similar situations as you that have moved over here. But I think it's awesome that you're thinking about that, and I'm glad I could offer some opposite perspective. But there is very big differences from the way people cut, from the relationship with clients, and even pay structure. It's a lot different. That's all I had, Hadi. I don't know if you have any questions for me. If anyone else in the audience has any questions, I don't get to talk. I see some people in here. Josh, Easy, what is good? But yeah, any questions for me and any closing questions from the audience before we hop off here?
For me personally, I don't have anything to say. I don't have any questions, but the only thing I will always say and will continue to say is that if ever you as a barber want to move from city to city or country to country, I do like just do it. Like don't think twice. Think about this think about the spot you want to go to, and I think it's a great thing to do, especially gaining experience. Like let's say he was saying that he was moving British to US. Anyways, so just making that move, even though it doesn't work out, let's say after a year and you want to move back to your hometown, it's not a big issue. The main thing is that you've learned something. So if it's in New York where we're mainly known as doing those crisp lineups and everything. So if you go there and you learn that, and then you go to, I don't know, to the UK and you learn how to cut scissors, and then you go to Australia and you learn how to use the old school blade on a person. You just learn everywhere you go, and that is something that is wonderful. It's like traveling, but for barbers, it's like wherever you go, they use a different technique for a haircut, and just going there and like just learning about your passion and going out there is just something incredible. So if you guys are thinking about doing it, I guess that will be something that you will never forget after.
Love that. David, we just dropped these truckers. We're almost sold out. We'll be coming out with some more stuff. If you're going to the expo, the Connecticut Barber Expo, we'll have some exclusive looks there. So definitely pull up if you can. Would love to meet you guys. As Josh says, leverage your social media account to grow. Cutting hair behind the chair is only one way of revenue in the multi-billion-dollar industry. That's absolutely right, and that's something we talked about before. You have a 45-minute conversation or 45-minute meeting with someone that they're paying you for, and you're going to cut some pretty amazing people with the chair. So just talk to as many people as you can, figure out how you can apply them to your own network, and it's going to take you volumes. Being a new barber, trying to build clientele. Hadi, if you want to touch on that, I know we did earlier. I'm going to drop some snippets of here, so some of the stuff we talked earlier that you may have missed, we can cover. David, August 14th to 16th. That's in it's Mohegan Sun Casino. It's the J Majors Expo. Any thoughts on that, Hadi? I feel like we touched
No,
on that.
everything's great on my end. How about you?
I'm good, man. I'm glad we did it. Had some technical
Perfect.
difficulties, but we finally got through.
Me too.
All right,
All
guys.
right.
Well, I hope you got some value about this. I will be updating. We'll have another one next week, and you'll be seeing some information regarding that. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon. Peace out,
Thank
Hadi.
you. Bye.